you never see a mention of a demon of lust in the Bible. You never see a mention of a demon of anxiety in the Bible. You never see those things. And when you start talking about Jezebel spirits and spirits of lust, these are made up terms. I think we've just used them so much in Christendom that we don't even question that they're not in the Bible, but just look for them. They're not there. There is no demon of Jezebel that Paul's fighting. There's no demon of lust that Paul's fighting. None of this stuff. And actually, James tells us all that stuff starts in your heart. It's not a demon. Lust starts in your heart. Lust is your issue. So it's like all these things. And then that also takes away our personal responsibility to crucify our flesh. If we can blame everything on a demon, oh, my lust, that's not me. That's a demon. Oh, my greed, that's really not me. That's a demon. So where does that drive you? Not to the Bible, not to Christ, not to your knees, to the deliverance minister. That is just a total loss on your personal walk with God when you have to run to the deliverance minister. And Isaiah Salvador even said something on a podcast I couldn't believe. He goes, as a Christian, you should go to deliverance monthly. What kind of world are we living in? We have to go to deliverance monthly. I mean, that's insanity. What kind of protection? Why are we even saved then? That doesn't make us any different than an unbeliever. And that word demonizomai, that's the word in the Greek. Just look it up yourself. Look it up in Greek in the Strongs. That is one of the biggest lies I think that word always means demonized. If you look that word up, it means possessed. I'm trying to find it right now, but it means possessed in the Greek. And that's how people would have understood this. Because when you're talking about legion and when you're talking about even the lady with the bent over, how do we know that demon is inside of her? Because the language says she was bent over by a spirit or something like that. And also she was the daughter of Abraham. We don't know if she was saved. A daughter of Abraham just means she was a Jew. So that still doesn't give proof to a saved person can have a demon inside of them. It's like that, and we know demons can cause ailments based on Job. Job didn't have the devil enter him. Job just gave him a sickness from the outside and he got sick. He didn't have to get entered by a spirit to get, have the skin ailment he had. And so when you look at these things, there's just a lot of deception going on in these ministries about words. And it's just amazing to me that deliverance ministers get up there and say things like spirit of this, spirit of that, and no one checks them in the Bible. They just accept it as truth. And that's the loss. Because when you really do a biblical dive on these things, it's just not biblical. It doesn't hold up to scrutiny of Scripture. And I don't think the New Testament message is be afraid of demons. I mean, and that's what this deliverance ministry, contemporary anyway, is doing. It's making people afraid of the demonic. I have to run to the deliverance minister because there's this demon inside me, and I am begging you to get him out of me. That's not the New Testament message in my mind. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but it's just like, to me, it's a fear-inducing doctrine. Put it like that. It's something that makes us afraid that we're laying in bed at night and there's this demon inside of us. That's just not the security salvation gives you, or what, the New Testament gives you, in my estimation.
I think they would say that it's more like it's attached to you rather than being in you, because again, they say that possession language doesn't exist. So they say that you're just demonized. You just have a demon, and the demon is either attached to you, and then there can be a degree of it. So even within, if we say that the possession thing is the case, do you think there's then degrees of that? Because we see people who are demonized, and you see like the example of the guy who's like nude and running around the tombs, and he seems like absolutely crazy, and he's considered demonized. But then you also have people who come up to Jesus seeking his help while they're demonized. And you would say that's an awfully interesting for a person possessed by a demon to do. So does that mean that the demon is in control sometimes and not other times? Or does that mean that there's an extent to which the control takes hold of the person? Is there some kind of degree of those things?
Oh yeah, there's definitely degrees of it. I mean, the guy in the tombs was possessed by 6,000 demons. I mean, that's a whole nother level of demonization. I don't think his free will even had a chance to poke its head out. I mean, that guy was just consumed with the demonic. And then you do see people who are lesser, and I dealt with this all the time. Even talking to voodoo priests that were saved, they told me when they would cast demons into people, or someone would pay them to possess another person, they would sometimes summon 66 demons. They would other times summon one specific demon. They would do whatever. So there's definitely degrees of demonization that you can have, but I would definitely make a demarcation between possession and something outside of you, like tempting you, whispering in your ear, however you want to say it. But the question is, you got to look at the language that these demon slayers use. They don't say, come off of him. They say, come out of him. So whenever you look at those things, if you look at the videos, they always use language like the demon is within the believer, inside, like they need to be cast out, not cast off.
Yes.
And so that's a very different language. And I think they're a little bit disingenuous when they get brought to task on this. They'll say, oh, he's demonized, it's on him. But that's not the language you're using when you're actually doing your conferences. And so I'm just thinking about it, Creed, too. It's like, how ridiculous is it when we've come to a point where we put up a billboard and advertise Deliverance on Thursday, and all the demons just nicely let everybody drive out to the Deliverance minister, and the demons just let them walk up there, and then they nicely obey, and then they go sit back down. That is not that's not the demons I saw in Haiti. I mean, they're frothing at the mouth. They're trying to kill you. I mean, I've gotten pickaxes brought against me. I mean, it's like, this is a violent, uncontrollable rage and strength in these people. You look at these deliverance ministers, these women and men just walking up there. They're under control. Then they say something, and it's just the most sterile, it's just nothing. Like, if I could bring you down to Haiti and show you like an actual, you would come back here and look at that and laugh, because it's just not even in the same arena of an actual demonization. I mean, when people are under demon, it is like, it's brutal and serious to the point where the person is going to die. And if you think about the Bible, what does it say? My boy is possessed by a demon. He throws himself into fire frequently. Like, the demon's trying to kill you. He's not going to let you walk up all under control to a podium and then charge money. So it's just, the whole thing has become a sideshow, and I'm not saying that. I think it goes back to what we're saying about everything here. We just do it for gain. There's nothing authentic that we do here. Like, should Deliverance be on a stage in an arena on a specific day where hundreds of people come? Or should it be a person you encounter after praying for God to give you a divine appointment that day that might need a deliverance prayer because they do have a demon in their life? Like, that's going to be done under the radar, not on a stage. And I think God will show up in those ways. But these stage things, I think it's just Satan casting out Satan. I really do. I think these people are occultists themselves, and they have ways of waving their coat and knocking people back and slaying the spirit and all this stuff. And ask yourself that. We're slaying the spirit in the Bible. Who was slaying the spirit in the Bible? Yeah. All this stuff we do is a joke. And I think in America, we're in dangerous territory because we are doing things that are unprecedented in church history. I mean, if you look at the way we do deliverance, the way we use the gifts as some kind of badge of honor that makes you a first-class Christian, unprecedented. I mean, unprecedented in church history.